Yes. Hey, we are live on our TSL online call. It's Wednesday night. It's May 31st, 2017, the last day of May. And this is a question about the Jedi skills of sex. So, really, actually, what the question is on the previous recording that I just did on our call, which was talking about some escalation stuff. Definitely check that out. Um, was they were talking about, like, you say within the first 2 minutes of meeting somebody that you know whether or not it's on, whether you're going to have sex with them or not, or they're available to have sex or something like that. And it's a very common thing that is said, right? We hear a lot of this stuff over and over again from guys that are really good with women. And basically, the short answer of this is that in order to get those skills to see that, you need experience. And once you have experience, and once you kind of get to know the language of sex or the language of social dynamics or the language of sales or whatever you're in, you're going to be able to sense it very, very often. The interesting thing is what everybody wants when it comes to something like this or like some skill is they want to get, well, what's the technical breakdown of it? What happens? Give me the IOIs, give me the exact thing of what you notice. The thing is you wouldn't notice. So the things that I notice are they step closer, they get into my center line, their eyes change, their eyes get softer, their eyes get relaxed, their facial muscles get relaxed. And then how would I know it when somebody's walking around a club? Because I'm very good at that too, just because my whole pickup career started off with SNLs. It was funny when I was in Mexico, some guy was like, was asking me for free stuff and he name dropped a bunch of people. It was great. He fucking rat fucked himself there. But, cause the guy that he name dropped was like actually like saying that the dude was psycho anyway. It was fucking great. But anyway, how I learned was through SNLs. Okay. And so, in learning through SNLs, I was SNL was not a word. Same Night Late was not a word until CJ coined it that. He was my mentor and, kind of started a lot of the whole thing. So my first way of interacting with women was through SNLs. And through that, you when you have it enough, you build a calibration of seeing people. When you see people walk around and how they act and their sub communications. Now, if I explain these things to you, they don't make any fucking sense. They won't make any sense and they'll actually fuck you up. They'll make you slower at things. You need the experience. You have to have the experience. Now, maybe you can have less experience than I did and, then you can, kind of understand these things a little bit better. But if somebody's walking around the club and they're looking for attention, if somebody has to be first, if somebody's causing drama in their group, if somebody's intentionally being louder, if somebody walks by you 3 or 4 times and you're standing in the same place, if somebody stays in your line of sight, now, even if they're not even making eye contact with you, then and you can even move and change positions and they rotate in your line of sight, especially if you're projecting sexuality, which is something that CJ would always have us do. It's like to have your center line out, to project. People always say, well, what is projecting sexuality? It's pretty simple. Like stick your dick out to the world. Look at people. Look at the people that you want to fuck like you want to fuck them. And you do that for 2 hours. And guess what? If you pick 5 or maybe 6 people in the club, 2 or 3 of them will most likely be candidates. It's the easiest thing in the world. Man, it's the most like Jedi form of seduction that I've ever done. But you get in your head a lot with it too. But man, it's easy. And all these people, like even CJ himself was like, oh, well, if you worship the crystal god and you get all this crazy new age shit. I didn't, man. I read the book Social Intelligence by Daniel Goleman and explained it enough for me to go, okay, this is part of how people socialize. And there's a lot that's seen and sub-communicated that isn't consciously thought of or even thought of in any way that you would think is possible, that where people sense things about you through their periphery or even scent or whatever, or auditory. There's so many little things that happen. And so when it comes down to that, yeah, of course there's so many different things that cue somebody as being sexually turned on, or maybe they're ready for a sale or whatever it is. But if you're actually walking into it without any experience and only looking for those things, you will fuck it up. So interesting thing is way back when I shot the Infield Insider in 2008, it was pretty horrible. In fact, let me just throw some people under the bus since it's been some years and some of them are still around. They're just dipshits. The first time I was supposed to film the Infield Insider, Steve Miles, Sexual Chocolate, who still coaches to this day, who's an interesting guy and hung out with us a lot in Dallas. I never got what the fuck. I never got it, man. I never got it. And you can never trust the guy who had stayed at his place a couple times and would screw this chick there that I was dating. And after we broke up and he like didn't talk to me for a little bit, he like relentlessly tried to pursue her. Like that's not, that's, it's just stupid, man. That's a good way that's just such a dumb, like you should have some skills to meet women on your own, man. So anyway, he was supposed to shoot my Enfield Insider. And so he flew out to Dallas, and you know how we did things in Dallas was very slow paced. We didn't do things all active. And he had seen me. I mean, he's seen me take home plenty of girls. And he sat there and he's like, "Hey, if it's a slow night, I want to go hang out with Asian Playboy on his workshop." And I said, "Okay, cool." So instead of actually like telling the truth, he told the Meow people that I flaked on him or something, which pissed me off. So then the next time, Meow's dumbass girlfriend, who's a total fuck up, went with me, and I like actually had this girl, and she just the whole time was talking shit on me. Like it's so weird that it's like they film you and they talk shit on you. And then the last one, Darren, DJ Fuji, shot it. Now the interesting thing that happened with Darren is he was like, well, so how do you? Because he was trying to find out the you know what we were talking about with SNLs. And I was saying like, look, dude, you can just tell when a girl walks in the bar and how she acts, you can tell. And he's like, you know what? Mark Manson said the same thing, who was also shot at it. They deleted his because he pissed them off. He pisses off a lot of people. So, and he pulled a girl and he actually pointed it out before. And he's like, Mark said the same thing. He's like, he saw a girl. Mark's very good with women, by the way. It's a different life now. This was 10, 11 years ago. But, oh no, it was 2008. So it was 9 years ago. So anyway, basically he saw a girl. And this is something that was very common for guys that are good with women. He goes, man, that girl's probably go home with me tonight. He waited. He wasn't stupid. This is also where, what was Meow's dumbass girlfriend's name? What a fucking, it's like a face of leather plastered on with a makeup job to look like you were like at one point, maybe in your life, a Playboy superstar or whatever. But anyway, he said to Darren, he's like, this chick, I think is good to go. And I remember telling Meow's girlfriend, I was like, no, this girl's good to go. And he's like, why aren't you talking to her? Why aren't you doing anything? Because you're stupid if you do. Because that's not how, like, sex isn't based off of attention. And so basically, I remember in my situation, I met the girl at like 10 or 9 o'clock. And I said, well, we got to wait till 2. You know, she's not going to leave her friends. I don't want to make things social. I don't want to build extra rapport. She wants to fuck. But she's not going to be a slut in front of her friends. She's going to leave at the right time and be a slut when she has the excuse to be drunk or whatever it is. I don't know. They were just such assholes about it. But anyway, the thing is that Darren was so like, man, how do you see it? How can you tell? How can you get it? And see, the thing is just when a woman is responsive, if you're aware of your sexual output, your sexual energy, and I shouldn't say energy, but basically showing your intent. I want to fuck you. Sticking your dick out, saying certain things, being able to whisper in her ear. If you're able to project that out, when you see how a woman reacts towards it, it's plain and simple. It's night and day. You know, the first night when I met Maria, and people were there. I mean, it's on videotape. But the way she sat and the way she responded to me, I was like, man, I could fuck this chick tonight. I told my martial arts instructor, I told Ed, well, you guys might know him, Ed Aiken. I said, dude, I'm not going to train tomorrow morning. Because I met her at like 9 or something. I'm not going to train tomorrow morning. I met this chick. She's 6 feet tall. I'm gonna play on the jungle gym or whatever. You know, and he goes, no, I need you to train tomorrow. Like, shut the fuck up. And like, I want to train super hard. So he's like, go to sleep. And I was like, man, no, man, this girl's good to go. Anyway, the crazy thing is that she was also the girl that texted me the next morning. Next time we hung out, we hook up, and then that's been it from there. 5 years later, then you're stuck in a house with no freedom. Relationships are horrible. It's so funny when people hear us talk about relationships to the guys who are married. They're always like, I don't ever want to be in a relationship. You can say that or whatever, but you know, there's a lot of benefits to it too. But anyway, you just get the sense of it. And you get the sense of it. If I broke it down, even with Maria, it was like how she was responding to me, because we were shoulder to shoulder sitting down, and what she was responding to. Everything that I asked, there was something of interest that came across that showed a part of her that wanted me to chase it more. It was almost advertising it to me. And I know there's subtle things, but if you have experience, they're very obvious. Every time there was a point of silence, it was filled by her by asking a question. It was challenged to see if she could give me more. And every girl's different in how they do it, but it's the same thing of, I'm going to show you a little bit more. Can you give me a little bit more? I'm going to get physically close to you this way, and I'm not going to back away. When you touch me or when you get physically close to me, I might back away for a second, but then I come back. All right. Now, if they back away or they move away, but they're still responsive verbally, it's still good. So you got to there's, what did I always used to say when I would teach a lot in this? There's 5 points of communication. All right. Now, everybody wants to know the verbal, but that's the last one. There's our facial expression. There's our tonality. There's our spacing. All right, how close we are. There's the timing of how quickly we do things back and forth. And there's obviously the touching, right? And then the sixth, I guess, would be our verbals. And man, there's so many different variations to those. We can qualify with every single one of those. We can elicit intent with every single one of those. We could escalate with all of those. And we should be, learning how to communicate with it. But if you want to learn the language of how humanity communicates socially and sexually, you got to get started in a certain place, and you have to have experience. And when you get experience, any guy who gets good with women will be able to tell you within the first 2 minutes, man, I could fuck that chick. And guess what? He's going to be wrong sometimes, but it's just so much easier walking in with that mentality than without it. And you naturally build it. And I always tell people, man, you're 10 lays away. 10 sexual experiences, 10 new women. All right. From being able to build that calibration. All right. Now, of course, if it takes you 20 years to get those 10 lays, or maybe even 4 years, that's not good. If you can get 10 new women in a year, you're going to build a heightened sense of sexuality. And that's a very doable thing if you really put a little bit of time towards it, maybe 2-3 hours a week. Anyway, if you like this sort of stuff, follow the links down below. If you're listening on iTunes or Stitcher, you can watch this on our page, and the free stuff link down below. That free stuff link not only will get you the video, but it'll take you to where you can sign up on the Austin Men's Development Group, which is free, or our Men's Development Excellence course, where you can learn about sexual escalation. You can learn about sexual communication, how you can get sexual rapport, how you can have relationships, how you can talk to me and 20 other guys who can give you advice on stuff. It's just an amazing thing. That's our MD Excellence program. You can sign up for it on that free stuff link down below. That isn't free, but there's also free PDFs as well. I'd invite you to check it out and subscribe on all the different areas that we have, whether it's YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, or just in your own personal RSS feed, if they still have those things. In any case, I'm getting back to this call. It's Wednesday night. We're about to get the MD Excellence guys on board, and talk to you guys later.